Everybody, welcome back for another day. The education system in America is an absolute collapse. Teachers are walking away en masse. The future is held by a bunch of illiterate narcissists, but it's okay because at least we'll have more content creators out there. Let's have a look.
A message to anyone out there who thinks that teachers have it easy just because we have time off. I have 2 hours left of my school day and I'm leaving because I'm so stressed out between all the requirements that our district offers and the students' behavior, their lack of trying, their apathy for school, parents that don't give a shit, they don't care, they don't answer phones, they don't discipline their kids, and kids who feel like they're going to commit suicide because they're getting bullied. You have no idea what it's like being a teacher. You have no idea. I don't want to hear a person ever in the history of ever say that this job, we're lucky, we have it easy, we get so much time off. You have zero clue what all it takes to be a teacher.
I'm telling you guys, teachers are different now. Listen, we were rascals, right? We were little rascals. We got into trouble. We got in fights. We had our senior pranks, all that stuff. But you talk to a teacher now, you ask them, how it's going out there. And they're going to act like a Marine and you just ask them about Fallujah.
At this point, y'all, I just need to start a documentary. There is no way that it's 11:15 and I'm on the brink of tears because I want to go home so bad. These kids are horrible. Horrible. They don't care about learning. The parents don't hold them accountable. They don't make their kids hold themselves accountable. The admin does not hold the parents of the children accountable. They say they hold the kids accountable, but they go to the office and they come back and they do the same thing. It's awful. I have a parent in there with me for some of the kids that have disability, like different things. Like, she's in there to support me. She watched me teach a whole lesson. I explicitly taught this lesson. I used all of my resources. The students had studies weeklies out in front of them. I had the article up on the board. We went article by paragraph. We broke it down. I asked them questions about it. We dissected the pictures, the whole nine. I did my job. I'm pausing, asking them questions. If you're a teacher, and you use Studies Weekly, that at the end, they do there's a little quiz just to check for comprehension, right? So we get to that point, y'all, and only my same five students could answer the questions. And it was simple things like, who was Benjamin Franklin? Was he a doctor or an inventor? They're saying a doctor. We had to learn, mind you, I teach first grade, but we had to learn the word perseverance because that is one of his character traits. It means don't give up, keep trying. That's how I explained it to them. I asked them, does perseverance mean kindness? All of them but five said yes. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else I tell them the sky is blue. What color is the sky? They say red. This is deeper than education. This is deep, baby, don't get me to diagnosing them. And then on our way out the door to lunch, because y'all know I have to leave to lunch or I'm going to spaz.
If you've ever worked a high-stress job before, or at some point you just have to leave, right? That's not what teaching should be. When I think of a first grade teacher back in the day, you think of some middle-aged woman with no kids, just in some kind of horrific homemade dress. She has 3 or 4 cats, but she's nice. She brings in cupcakes every now and then. Generally just kind of an affable person. It's bad when you have to leave midday for a cigarette and just to find a quiet place in your car and just kind of scream it out on social media. It's getting bad.
But on our way out the door, one of the kids spit in another kid's face. Just spit. And before that, the same little girl that I made the video on, 2 other of my videos on with the parent, y'all, she's been hitting people all morning. I talked to her at 7:40 about hitting my nonverbal, putting her hands on. She didn't hit him.
This thing though, where do you learn this behavior? It's the parents. It's either the parents or they're learning on social media, but they're in first grade, so they shouldn't be on social media. But I mean, if you're a parent, what are you going to do at this point? Right? How are you going to entertain your kids? You don't have any time. You know, you get off one shift, you have to hop onto DoorDash and try to make enough money so the lights can stay on. The whole thing's just kind of like spiraling at this point. I mean, the system, the country, the culture. And these people are just on the front lines at this point. Like, listen, I could see why teachers are walking away from this, because you're doing all this for what, $38,000 a year? A salary where basically it says in the contract that, hey, you're gonna have to get a second job because we're not gonna pay you.
She grabbed my nonverbal, autistic little boy's arm. Why are you touching him? He does not mess with nobody. Why are you touching him? Spoke to her about that. Then on the way to specials at, what time they go? 7:46, because I was running late because of that incident. She grabs another one of my autistic students' face. Why are you touching her? Mind you, this little girl has already had a swarm report and been referred to the counselor for a bullying incident on the bus. She hits, she steals, she cusses, and all her mama want to say is she still believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and she not gonna change overnight. She a kid. I'm fed up, y'all. I just sent a long email citing the code of conduct in the student handbook, student and parent handbook, letting my admin know I have exhausted all of my resources. I can't take recess from the little girl because her mama say it's illegal. So what else do you want me to do? And at what point is a suspension going to be given? I've asked for the removal out of my classroom. They won't grant it. So, okay, now I'm going to cite what y'all have in black and white. So now what? Now what? They put so much weight and emphasis on the teacher. What about the kids? What about the parents? Like, I can't make a 6-year-old do nothing they don't want to do. Because Lord forbid I put the pencil in their hand and make them write it. Oh, now it's abuse or something. Like, we can't win. We cannot win. Like, I'm about to get my Chick-fil-A and I'm about to go and I'm about to sit at my desk for the rest of the day because I can't teach. I don't know what else you want me to do. I've tried.
I'm actually 100% for corporal punishment to be back in schools. Maybe not towards the students, though. I think that teachers should be able to square up with bad parents. I think that other parents should be able to square up with bad parents. Honestly, the PTA meeting should just become a fight club. That's what it should become. I've got a few years till I'm in that fucking jungle, and I'll tell you what, I'm ready for it. I'm coming in guns blazing. Not really, but, you know, metaphorically, I'm coming in guns blazing. That's what it is. That's where the teachers are at right now. They've just kind of given up, right? When you look at a teacher, when you talk to them now, they don't just give you that kind of gentle smile as someone who cares and nurtures the future generations of America. They just give you that long, silent stare, a nice 1,000-yard stare. It's the stare of someone who has become numb to the madness of the day because they exist in a jungle. They're emotionally flatlined. Yeah, they're checked out. Like I said, it's just different now, right? You ask a teacher how things are going, they're gonna be like, you know, how was school today? They're like, well, we had a lockdown drill during the lunch break, and the kid decided to throw a chair at my face because they said they couldn't vape in class. So yeah, that's how it's going right now. Like, these people used to be idealists. Like, we've all had teachers before. We all went to school, most of us. You know, they used to say things like, you know, we were here to shape minds. Now they just say, hey, I'm just trying not to get doxxed today by a 14-year-old with an iPhone and zero empathy. Like, every classroom in America right now just isn't for teaching. It's just a content farm. Like, every kid out there right now, they think that they're going to be a content creator. They're going to be an influencer, right? Every 12-year-old thinks that they're going to be a content creator. But it's like, what kind of content are you going to be doing, little 12-year-old? Just going to be eating glue and doing TikTok dances. Like, teachers are out there trying to teach algebra, but these kids, they think that cosine is just a skincare brand. And like I said, it gets to the point, like, this lady has to go out midday, smoke a cigarette, and scream into her camera, right? You can't discipline these kids because they're like, well, that's verbal assault. And the teacher's like, listen, sweetheart, I make $38,000 a year, right? I don't have time or the energy to assault anybody. Right? I have 2 other side gigs that I have to do after I'm done teaching you? And they said something like, I used to stay after class to help out with struggling students. And now I just kind of sit there either in my car or in my office for 20 minutes, just kind of trying to disassociate. And I get it. These kids, you see them running around Target, right? Driving the handicapped scooters around. They're feral. And you can't teach them anything. You can't teach them anything about history because they're like, well, that's not trending anymore. That's in the past. You can't teach them anything about literature because they're like, well, Shakespeare never did a collab with Mr. Beast. They just don't care. Like I said, the worst part of this isn't really the kids, because the kids are just a symptom, right? The kids are the result of parents. But the problem here isn't necessarily the kids. The kids are a big problem, and in the future, they're going to be a massive problem because they're going to become working age adults at some point. But the parents, it's the parents' fault. The parents are worse than the kids because the parents have no concept of accountability. Absolutely none. The kid burns down the cafeteria. They're just like, well, he's just expressing himself. It's like, no, Karen, Jimmy is a pyromaniac. He needs to be institutionalized. Like, parent-teacher conferences aren't going to be constructive anymore. It's just two broken adults trying to figure out a situation. The whole time you got the kid in the back corner live streaming the entire thing. You're like, well, Timmy hasn't turned in an assignment the entire semester. Like, well, Timmy has ADHD. So yeah, so does everybody. I have ADHD. The principal has ADHD. The janitor's microdosing just to deal with the trauma. But that doesn't mean that people can just get away with anything. Like I said, you have to remember back in the day, right? And teachers used to try to inspire kids. They used to pull a kid to the side and said, you know what? You're really something special. And now you just pull a kid to the corner and they're like, you're really special, but just in a way that concerns me legally. So yeah, they're leaving. Teachers are leaving in droves right now, as they should be. They've seen it. The writing is on the wall. They don't even get paid anymore. They get paid in what? Target gift certificates. The occasional teacher appreciation bagel from the PTA and Red Bull. Why would you stay? And why would you even grade papers? Listen, kids don't even do their assignments now. These use Gemini, Grok, or ChatGPT. Well, you're going to go home from your $38,000 a year job and stay up till midnight grading papers that ChatGPT wrote? No, you're not going to do that. And the whole time that kid's at home just making thirst trap videos and talking about how school's useless. And you know what? They're right. At this point, we have this transition right now with AI entering the world, right? AI disrupting our culture. It's having a profound impact on education because things like ChatGPT. You don't need to study. No one's going to be able to do homework anymore. Homework can't be a thing anymore. Not if you can just scan the assignment, load it to ChatGPT, and let it answer it for you. That just can't be a thing. Everything has to be done in a clean, sterile room with cameras everywhere where people walk in and they have to turn their phones in. It's the only way. Because what are you going to trust the integrity of a bunch of kids who think that you got to fake it till you make it, or if you're not cheating, you're not trying? No. Put a magnifying glass and watch them. Because they're jackals and they'll do what they have to do nothing. And besides, of course, the students and the parents, of course, you have the school boards who are going to spend $200,000 on social emotional learning workshops. But at the same time, the gym has rats and the smart board hasn't worked since the Obama era, right? Like, the schools are just in collapse. And teachers used to fight for tenure. Now they're just fighting for PTO so they can go in their 2008 Honda Civic and just kind of cry it out on TikTok. Listen, we ask ourselves why young people don't want to be teachers anymore, and it's because they've seen it. They've seen the writing on the wall, and they're the ones who are actually tormenting these teachers on TikTok right now. They know what that's going to be like, so why would they want to do that? Like, what, you're going to have Gen Z talking to Gen Alpha, some 25-year-old trying to teach the kids about photosynthesis, but you have a 9-year-old saying that, oh, actually, that's misinformation. I saw a YouTube short where they actually debunked that. One day, these kids are going to grow up. And that's the worst thing, because these kids, these little monsters, they're going to have kids at some point, TikTok babies. Imagine that generation, just coming out of the womb trying to film their own birth. Like, POV, me entering the simulation. This entire thing is just terrifying. So yeah, teachers are leaving, and I'd be leaving too. If I had to spend my entire day surrounded by 30 little tiny narcissists who are powered by Celsius energy drinks and have absolutely zero empathy, I'd walk away too. And we want to act like this entire thing is a mystery, like, oh, I don't know why people are quitting teaching. It's like because they're not teachers anymore. They're just low-paid tech support for a generation of kids who thinks that Google Docs is a personality. Like, you can't win. As a teacher, you try to discipline a kid, the parent's gonna sue. If you try to inspire the kid, they're just gonna post some kind of like sad face emoji. And if you ignore them, right, because they're trouble, you're just gonna get a mindfulness PDF emailed to you from the administration. So they're getting out. They're getting out and they're recapturing their mental health. They're moving to places like Utah and becoming like Etsy candle makers, owning a bunch of cats, moving off the grid, making content, starting in OnlyFans. That's a common one. And honestly, at this point, that's the dream. It's only a matter of time before we do away with the human aspect of teaching anyway. We all know that the robots are coming. Right? At some point, you're just gonna have like Tesla put out a teaching bot. And when that happens, then really it's all over. All the passion, all the magic of school, which used to be there, it's just gone. So in this collapsing country that we call America, with our crumbling economy, at the end of this, we always want to say, are we going to survive the great collapse? The only people that are going to survive the collapse are going to be teachers, because they go through an apocalypse every day. Like, they've already lived through it, right? They stare into the eyes of 30 little soulless narcissists every day. There's no excitement anymore. You have a kid who lifts his hand up, maybe he has a question. No, it's just him asking to go to the bathroom for the 47th time that day. I always say it, at this point, with this generation, listen, teachers are saints. They've been through hell and they deserve statues. Real ones, made of gold, where there's holding a girl boss coffee mug and sitting there with a fake smile, but the eyes hold a deep despair. And at the bottom of that statue, it should just read, "The last person that cared." Because that's what it is. This entire thing is just a sacrifice that teachers make. And I respect them for it, and I salute them if they're staying in there. And I salute them if they're walking away, because self-preservation has to come into the equation at some point. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, teachers are walking away from teaching in mass. The fact that it just doesn't pay enough, not to deal with the madness that the kids have brought into this world, that the kids' parents have brought into this world. The future's doomed. It doesn't matter what kind of change we have now, because this next generation has been absolutely poisoned by social media to the point where they're going to be wanting the robots, right? Because they're so used to not doing any work that's going to make sense to them. Like, well, listen, why am I going to do this when I can just either ask AI or have my Tesla bot or have my love bot do this problem for me? We are the last generation that knows sanity. And we know that because we see it slipping through civilization's fingers like a handful of sand. But that's all we got for today, ladies and gentlemen. Logan, come say goodbye. Come. Howdy God, howdy. This is Logan. If you haven't met Logan before, he's the channel's mascot. He is a highly inbred Yorkshire Terrier from Miami. He's traveled to more countries than I have, because he's just a spoiled, pompous little prick. But I love him, and he's a good boy. Yes. Say hi. All right. If you're still here at this point, ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe. Not for me, but for Logan. We'll have him more. Gotta say, with the content that's been coming up and the fact that, the government has absolutely abandoned the people in this country, the message to this is you just got to live your life here. You got to enjoy it. Right? Do what you have to do. Walk away from a bad situation if you have to walk away from a bad situation. Don't feel like you're stuck. As long as your legs aren't broken, you can walk away. It doesn't matter. Damn the consequences, right? Live your life. Be happy. Do what you have to do. Live your life and spend the money that you can while the money is actually worth something if you have money. And if you don't have money, rob somebody. Don't do that. It's a rough time right now, so you got to laugh a little bit of gallows humor. Listen, the school thing, my God, what madness. But it is what it is. Think about becoming a member, ladies and gentlemen, or give a donation to the channel. We love you guys. As always, it's the beginning of a new work week, so try to just save your sanity here. #teachers. If you're out there if you're watching, some of you are from the last teaching video that I saw, leave a comment. Tell us what it's like out there in the battlefield. You are essentially the modern day war correspondent, and we want to know tales from the battlefield. So go ahead, throw them down there. We love you guys. Have a good week. Stay above ground if you can. Have a good one.